Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday morning. It's Stephen Whiteside here from the uptrend.com. Well, we don't have any major economic numbers coming out this morning, and things are looking a little different than yesterday morning. Yesterday morning, we had stock index futures pointing lower in the pre market. This morning, they are pointing higher. Now, yesterday turned out to be an extremely volatile day and a very heavily traded day. And so we made a new low and had just a wild day, quite an amazing swing in the market on Monday. But there's a new low, and we closed lower on the day. So the first sign something new is happening is if we were able to close above yesterday's high on Tuesday. Of course, we are trading from below all the major moving averages and the flypaper channel. And you can basically just draw a line across the screen where there's been lots of congestion over the last few months. And that is a wall of resistance on the way back up. So we could get a bounce here. We could get a couple of days of buying that may not change anything on a short-term or long-term basis. Now, the VIX popped yesterday, making a new high for this move, and it continued to close higher on the day. The VIX ETFs also made new highs yesterday, and just reminding people that the VIX often comes down very quickly. It may not come down enough to generate a new sell signal, which would be supportive for higher stock prices, but certainly options traders can get more comfortable with the additional price volatility and negativity in the market that they'll reduce the premiums on options over a short period of time. So just be aware of that. Now, the volatility, the selling, it's spread around the world. There's no real safe place to hide at the moment. There's emerging markets. There's the Hong Kong market, the Japanese market. A quick look through Europe gets us Sweden and Switzerland. Both the markets getting hit very hard. And all of these are great examples of the market rising on an escalator and coming down on an elevator. And that's what's been happening over the last couple of days. Now, while the stock market was very volatile yesterday, so was the bond market. And after hitting a new high on Friday, the TLT, the XBB both came down hard on Monday. A huge move down for the emerging markets. And then the junk bonds had a wild day yesterday as well. Remember, the bond market, usually more sober investors, calm, cool, and collected. Yesterday was not a calm, cool, collected day for the bond market. And of course, if bond prices are falling, bond yields are rising. And there's what the 30-year bond looked like yesterday. That was just a huge mess of volatility on Monday. You don't usually see that in the bond market. Looking at the major index ETFs, what worked yesterday? Well, it was the semiconductors were the big winners. They didn't get very far, but they were the big winners. Technology in general was the big winner on Monday. What didn't work? Home builders. U.S. home builders were the big losers on the day on Monday. Looking at the Dow again, making a new low for this move. The big winner yesterday on the Dow 30 was NVIDIA. Did not close above the previous day's high, but was higher on the day. Now, on Friday, we were looking at 87.50 as our next target to the downside after it broke 100. And we actually traded through that level yesterday. And so the downward target has now expanded to 81.25 on the daily charts. Now, the big loser on Monday on the Dow 30 was actually Apple, making a new low for this move. And of course, Apple is in the middle of the tariff wars, making most of its products overseas and trying to bring those products back into the US. There's the S&P 500, and the S&P 500 actually broke through the $500 level. It did not close there, but it certainly traded down to our next price target of 44.38. We closed at $504.38, and the market's going to be keeping an eye on that to see if we can continue to close above the $500 level on the SPY. The big winner yesterday was Supermicro, trading up to the lower channel line. What didn't work? Tractor Supply was the big loser on the day. Then looking at the NASDAQ 100, the NASDAQ 100 did not hit 400, got pretty close to it though. Got as low as $402.39. Our next target to the downside is $390.63, but we haven't closed below $400 just yet. The big winner was AppLovin, no change in trend there. The big loser was MicroStrategy, no change in trend there. Then looking at the TSX 60, new low for the TSX 60 yesterday. The big winner was actually Shopify, which continues to hold $100. And the big loser on the day was Bank of Nova Scotia, down over 4%, over 4.5% on the day. Then looking at the Vanguard Canada ETF for the TSX Composite, we made a new low yesterday. The big winner on the day was Ivanhoe. The big loser on the day was NGEX, down over 8% on the day, 8.24 to be exact. Then moving on to the world of commodities, it was not a good day. Crude oil closed lower, gasoline closed lower, natural gas was down, copper was lower, the GLD, second day of a sell signal. We saw a new low for palladium, a new low for platinum, but silver had an inside day and actually closed slightly higher. So no change in trend, certainly for the price of silver, which has come down hard over the last week. Okay, folks, that is all for this morning's presentation. So far, it looks like we're going to see a little buying at the open. Certainly, it's not going to be enough to change any trends on Tuesday, but it could be the start of something. We'll just have to wait and see. The first thing I'll be looking for is, do we close above yesterday's high on Tuesday? That would certainly be a bullish sign, not a reason to take action, but a reason to become more optimistic that we may have put in a low on Monday. Have a great day. Next time you'll hear my voice is on Wednesday morning.
Thanks for tuning in until the very end of today's stock market timing educational video. If you found the content valuable, don't forget to express your support by hitting the like button, leave a comment, sharing with your friends, and subscribing to our channel for more insightful updates. Remember, in the world of stocks, timing is crucial, and following the trend can be your greatest ally. If you would like more information on how we can help you better time the stock market, please visit theuptrend.com.